these going? I just bought a new intake. It's a China Airgap. So it's $300, and a genuine Airgap is $850. So I think 310 wins over 850. Nothing's made in Australia, so nothing to be proud of. Might be unpatriotic to buy Chinese parts, but nothing's made here anyway. So, China Airgap. I think it's fragile. But open. Got a couple of carb spaces there and a gasket. Just size it up. See how it compares. I'll get downstairs later and I've got a mock-up engine. I want to see how it fits. First thing, dual pattern. Port window looks small. It looks more like 318 than 360. I wonder if I've got a gasket here. Yeah, I do have a gasket, I reckon. But anyway, yeah, Magnum and LA bolt pattern. Smooth. Casting looks good. Machining looks good. Just to look at, I don't reckon the runners are as large as an Airgap, as a genuine Airgap. Yeah, I don't reckon the cross section's as big. Tap for a water fitting. But only on one side, not on both. That's pretty stupid. Anyway, you probably could. It's interesting that they thought of that. It's not like that on the other Airgap, on the real Airgap. Yeah, I don't know. Looks alright. I'll be interested to get inside with a set of calipers and start measuring and see the sizes wherever I can. But I mean, to look down on it, the runners just don't have the size. I mean, yeah, it's just not as big. It's just not as big. That you can see it just there. You can see it every one of the raised runners on the, what is it? It's 2 and 8, 3 and 5. Yeah, you can see those race runners, they're just not as big. I'll go in the shed later and check it out. But oh yeah, that needs work. Yeah, shit, threads are pulled out of there. So yeah, that bolt hole there either needs a helicoil about a 1/4 inch of thread right down the bottom. But might need alley coil in that one. Let's see. So this is 850 size. The wife's not home, so I can do this in the lounge room. No worries. Come on, darling. 750 is a real neat match. No overhang at all. It's actually a real neat match. At least at the plenum. Next thing, I'll screw some studs in there and just see if a carburetor drops on there. Alright, well there's a bit out of me light. So, pretty good match for a 750 gasket. And if I get rid of this, I'll throw the shear plate back on it. Shear plate's 850 size. We'll see. Oh, it's actually not a bad match either, but there's just a bit of overhang just here and there. And if you shift it around, you just got a little bit of overhang here and there. And that shear plate's yeah, the 850 to 1000 CFM size is the 1 3/4. So yeah, I might screw some more studs in it and see if a carburetor drops on it. Alright, so I'd say it'll go if we just push on it, but you shouldn't have to. Yeah. You know, it's $300. It's only $300, so I think it's all right. But yeah. Let me see here. Let me see. So Felpro lists a 318 port window. Hang on. What do we got? Is this working? Right. Batteries are fading. Yeah. Felpro lists a 318 port window as basically an inch wide. So this is somewhere in between 318 and 360. I wonder if we can. You see that? 360 is basically 2 1/4, and that ain't 2 1/4. So the port window is quite small. Would need reasonably large amounts of porting. It's a fairly heavy gasket match. So maybe this could go on a 318 instead. Might be best suited for a 318. But even, I don't know if you can see here, the way the port, or the way this runner changes down to the port. I wonder what the cross section is across here. And then I wonder if we could calculate that, height and width, find out the CSA there, and see if there's as much of a dramatic change because that looks, the way that dog leg's down there, that looks like a dramatic change. Yeah, tomorrow I'll be able to have a look and see the actual air gap, the Edelbrock, see if the Edelbrock is anything even like that, if it's even slightly similar, or if it's just totally different. But anyway, yeah. So, I mean, you can see there is no thread in there until you look way down the bottom, about a 1/4 inch of thread in the bottom. This one's good. Let me see if we've got a bolt floating around. No, anyway. I don't know. For $300, definitely good, but obviously not a fantastic intake. Yeah, noticeably smaller. And I don't even know what that is. Hang on. So, yeah. 1.479, yeah. So, 1.5 inches on the outside of the runner. Who knows what it is inside. But anyway. I'll whip the manifold off the dummy engine I've got and see how good or see how bad this fits. Alright, so here's this dummy engine. It's actually got no head gaskets in it, so the intake doesn't, well, the bolt holes don't all line up. It's got no intake gasket either, but I'll see if I can get that. Some of the bolt holes line up. Like this one went in real easy, and this one's tight. Same on this side. That one goes in tight, but that one's easy. That's why it's already out. But so it's probably not the best example, but it'd be a good basic idea. It'll give us a good basic idea if I whip this off. See if the China air gap, see if the China air gap works. If it's totally off, or if it's nothing even close. Like this is quite tight, quite flush around here. Oh, I can get a torch, but yeah. The old Talker 2 is reasonably tight fitting. So we'll just have to see how it goes. Let's see what happens. Alright, well, the bolts seem to go in, intake manifold bolts seem to go in easier than with the Talker 2, so that's a good sign. But it's the strangest thing. I don't know if you can appreciate this, but the angle of the seat that the head of the bolt's supposed to clamp onto and the angle of the bolt are cast different, and it's pretty consistent that the bolt seat it ain't consistently out of whack with the I'm not trying to screw this one down. Yeah, the bolts go in easier than the Talker 2, so that's kind of surprising, but you can see big old gap at the bottom, snug at the top, so it's real strange. Yeah. So they're cast on a different angle. I don't suppose it's a real problem, but it's certainly very strange. So let's have a look at this. Put the steel rule in there, and then put the steel rule in there. Yeah, so, and it's the same in the opposite. It's very tight here, just fits down, and then it's loose there. So the manifold doesn't quite sit, nicely. It's pretty consistent across here. Maybe a little bit tighter down there. Now, obviously, I don't have the bolts tightened up. I don't have the bolts torqued. So maybe it could be better just by having the bolts torqued down. Obviously, no head gaskets, no intake manifold gaskets. Could be better than, this situation with this motor. It's a poly block with 360 heads. It ain't perfect. But what I'm trying to illustrate is it seems to bolt on, and I think with a gasket on there you'd seal it. I don't reckon you'd have any drama sealing it. You might have to be careful with this though, because where are we? That's got about 1/8 of an inch gap, and it's got 30 or 40 thou gap at the back of the intake manifold on the rear China rail, and on the front China rail, yeah, you got a fair bit more. So the biggest problem I see at this point is the discrepancy between runner cross section in the top 4 and the bottom 4. The lower 4 have nice taper and generous cross section. The upper 4 do not, and you can see the way that it tapers the wrong way back to the port window at the cylinder head face. Right, here's the most noticeable, and I'm thinking on camera it doesn't look that noticeable, but where the floor kinks right here and tapers back the wrong direction to the port window or to the cylinder head face, this one doesn't do that. This is nice, consistent, and far more generous height too. Like the difference between this, it's 1 3/4 height internally, and this is 1 1/2. So yeah, bottom 4, far more CSA than the top set, and to me that's a problem. And you can see it on all of the higher ones. I don't know if you can see that correctly there, but it does the exact same thing there. And you can see it's a sharp kick. When you look up into the port, you can see there's a major flaw in the design, and cross section internally. I've had a quick look and put a set of calipers inside there. Put the dividers in there. It's basically 1 1/2. It's not quite 1 1/2 by 1 3/16. So it's 1 3/16 wide, 1 1/2. Where these ones are 1 1/2 wide, the lower ones, and 1 3/4 high. So bottom 4 have way more cross section than the top 4. I don't know if that's like that in the Edelbrock manifold, but I very much doubt it. I'd reckon it's possible to help this manifold by just extrude honing the top set and leaving the bottom set so that we could equalize the whole lot. But I'm not sure how much you can improve on this. You might be polishing a turd. Might end up cheaper in the end to just buy the Edelbrock. All right, so we got an Edelbrock Airgap here. I'm not pulling it off to measure the internal passages, but what I'm going to do is I'll just take some quick external comparison measurements and we'll go from there. I mean, this video is getting ridiculously long, and I got tons of other shit to do. We've had a water leak, and the roof fell in. Yeah, tons of other stuff that's taken priority. So what I'll quickly do is I'll take some external measurements of the runners. Yeah, like I said, I'm not pulling this manifold off to measure it internally, but we'll compare. All right. So if I do end up having to take this manifold off, I will do a follow-up video with more in-depth measurements and so on. But what we got here is you got kind of, that's 1.9, so about 2 inches. And then this, the China one, you got 1.53, so pretty small. Runner height, hang on, 2 inch. Roughly 2.3. Battery's fading a bit, but yeah. So 2 inch to 1.5, 2.3 to 2 inch. That's, I mean, it's rough and ugly to try and gauge it by that, but I'd suggest the casting thickness is probably the same for both. Yeah, I don't know. To me, these runners sweep across nice and gently, where these ones, I suppose, sweep across kind of gently. It's about the same, but I can see, yeah, I mean, these, the top four on the upper plane, yeah, they're smaller. The lower ones, probably, yeah. Let's have a look at it. I mean, that's 2.1. This is 2.2. So, like I said earlier, the lower set seemed to be, or the lower set on this manifold seemed to be better than the upper. And it's probably maybe similar to the Edelbrock on the lower, but anyway, yeah, this video is dragging out way too much, so I'll end it there. But that's, you know, comparison between the two. I mean, this is an Edelbrock air gap, this is a China air gap. We can see the difference. Probably not worth buying the China one. Maybe for a stocker it might be all right. But anyway, I'll shut up. This video is getting too long. I'll yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Hope that's helpful for some of you. See you again soon.